Mars and Virgo. So Mars and Virgo, right? Um, Mars, while you're in Virgo, you people like to plan things out, and like not just plan things out, plan it out great detail. You know, things must be done this way for things to go right. If it's not done this specific way, then I'm not achieving my goals. It has to be done this specific way. The people that are involved with this, mission, this, you know, to make things happen for myself or, whatever, it has to be done this specific way. It can't be done any other way, you know, because you are a smart person. You've accounted for, this and that, or you should have. If you haven't, basically what I'm saying here is when you go to like do something, right? You have that in mind when you're going to do it. You're like, okay, so this is going to play out like this because this and this is going to happen. And I've done this and this. But then something happens that you didn't account for. And you're like, oh, you know, this, idiot messed up my plans. You know, but like, you ain't really mad at them as much. You're mostly mad at yourself because you didn't, you know, account for that. You know, so basically you gotta like, kind of calm down. Like you can think about things before you do stuff. But if one plan fails, then you have to have another one in the chamber. I'll be like, okay, next time I'll make sure that this happens, or be a little more flexible with your like planning, not so detailed about some shit. Like I can't even like describe how y'all move because and like that's the thing, people know you for like, doing things the right way and not messing up. And you know this too, and you like, but you consistently do this, and then like people come to you for help, and you're like also like, if I mess up, then why should I even like let somebody like he calls for my advice about doing stuff? If I was trying to be calculated in a plan, right, and then I failed getting there, I don't want you to like be around me because I like failed. I failed myself. You know, but like you shouldn't be so hard on yourself about some shit. You know, you know, things do happen in life. But you have to like make another plan, be a little more flexible with some things. There are idiots in this world. There are fools in this world. There are, you know, parasites. There are people who, are like you, who are assholes. There's people who are, you know, very, logical about things. You take all this into account, but not too much to the point where you're like, sometimes you might do that and talk yourself out of something too, but you don't want to do that because there's possibilities, you know, you have a goal, you go and do it, but you don't like think it through too much. You just do it. You do have a plan, but your plan's not too like, you know, so detailed to the point where if one little detail is wrong, you're like gonna lose your mind and be like, "Oh my god, I wanted to be at like it's like let me show you what I mean by like ridiculousness with you people. Like I wanted to be at this place at this time with these people and other things. Now you got to that spot with these people and these things, but you got there a little bit late, and then you're like, damn." I was supposed to be here at like 6:30, but I got here at 6:45. Don't worry about that shit. That's some like small shit. You don't gotta worry about it. People are there. You're doing stuff. You're at the place you want to fucking be at. Just, be all right with it. Yes, you did get there late, but it's fine. You planned on people you know dressing certain ways to go to a like thing because like you're a planner now or something. We have to look this way when we go out to do this. And somebody shows up in some other attire. You know, that's not you, man. That's somebody else. You know, all right, dude. Like you're not following the plan. Whatever. We'll act like you just gotta be flexible with some things. You can plan things out and all this, right? But at the same time, you gotta just not worry so much. That's the key here with you. You know, worry about small details not playing out. Another thing, and if you're a person that like can be a little more flexible with their planning, you know, and not you know be so caught up in the little things, you'll achieve your goals, and like not so hard on yourself too when like small things happen. Small things do matter, but as long as you achieve your goals, that matters more, especially when it's Mars, because that's what people care about, getting results and stuff. Not necessarily how it's done, not necessarily, but stay cool for on the corner. Keep doing that stuff. You have to think before you do things sometimes. And I know too because my Mars sign is a little bit like that, but I would say a little more mm, not like this. I'll talk about that next week. But stay cool on the corner anyways.